So what streaming gear you need, and therefore the cost of your setup, actually entirely depends on what kind of streaming setup you intend to run with. Now I know this sounds crazy obvious, but bear with me. You could have a green screen, which requires minimal environment setup and possibly not even crazy camera gear. Or you could have a framed window setup, which would require you to think about the background and the camera gear you use. Or you could even run a 2-camera setup with a camera on you and on your hand, or even just 2 different angles on yourself. For the sake of this video, however, we will only be discussing the first 2 setups, the green screen and the framed window. This is purely because if you are starting out, one of these 2 is what I would advise to keep it more budget friendly, and it's also less components to worry about when focusing on chat, and being engaging is more important. You can always expand and redesign your setup as you get more used to the multitasking that is required when streaming. We will also not be covering any PC or console components, including controllers, headphones, mice and keyboard, as that is purely personal preference, and I'm going to assume that you already have most of it. This video is not sponsored by anyone, so all the products mentioned in this video are products that I use myself and paid for myself after testing all kinds of products to find what works for me. All of the gear mentioned will be down in the description, and we might get a small kickback from Amazon, which doesn't cost you any extra, but helps the channel out immensely. So if you use one of our links, thank you so much. So with all of that out of the way, let's dive right in. We're going to start with what many in the industry deem is the most important component of video content creation: audio. There is a saying that audio is 50% of video, but in my opinion it's almost more important than the video itself, because people are way more likely to sit through a piece of content with bad video quality than bad audio. Bad audio hurts. We've all experienced screeching sounds, freezer drawers opening, babies screaming, and so on. But there is good news. Audio can very easily be taken from something that is almost vomit-inducing to something that is easier to listen to and possibly even enjoy. And it can be fairly cheap too. So let me show you some tips to get your audio from sounding like this to sounding like this. Before we get to the gear, let's quickly cover some of the free or cheap ways of improving audio in your studio. 1. Have the mic closer to your mouth. This would mean that the main sound that enters your mic is actually your voice instead of sound reflections or sounds in your environment. And 2. Add some sound dampening items in your studio. This can be anything from cheaper options like furniture, a couple of pillows, art on the walls, or curtains, to some that would cost money, like acoustic curtains or blankets, and even beautiful acoustic panels like the one I have. This will help you a lot with the echo we sometimes hear in badly set up audio. And 3, close the door and windows. Something as simple as this can help eliminate some of the distracting sounds that might come from your house or the street. Things like blaring sirens, barking dogs, or kids screaming, or even the vacuum machine. These can all be eliminated with a couple of seconds of pre-session preparation. But now on to the exciting part, the gear. So let's start with the mic. There are many, and I mean many, really good budget mics to choose from that will make a world of a difference to your audio setup. I would advise you start out with just a USB mic, as this eliminates a lot of the other upfront costs like cables, amps, mixers, and even stands or boom arms. A simple desktop USB mic like the Blue Yeti, or my favorite, the Elgato Wave 3, is more than perfect. The Blue Yeti comes in at around $100 or 75 pounds at the time of the recording this video, excluding shipping. And it's a really good and easy all-round mic, but if you have a little bit extra to spend, I would definitely advise the Elgato Wave 3. It's a great mic with many cool functions on the mic itself. But what sealed the deal for me is the software that comes with it. It's essentially a Go XLR built into the PC for your entire sound production on stream. You can set separate channels for your game, music, mic, browser, and even more, and control all of these from just the app. You can also plug your headphones straight into the mic, so that if you have noise cancelling headphones, you can actually hear your own voice if you want to. So you don't end up screaming into the mic because you don't really know how loud you're talking. I am very prone to doing this. Not only will this save your viewers' ears, but it will also save your throat. I'm not going to go into how the software works or how to set it all up, but if you want me to do that, let me know in the comments and I will make a video dedicated to the mic and the software. Like I said, these USB mics come with desk stands, so there's no real need for a boom arm, although having a boom arm does help to keep your desk decluttered. But that doesn't mean you have to get something super expensive though. I personally use the Samson MBA18 microphone boom arm, coming in at about $45 or 28 pounds excluding shipping at the time of this recording. The reason I like this is that I can sort of set it and forget it. I can put it to the front of my mouth, set the audio levels accordingly, and when I'm done, all I do is swing it out of the way, no change in arm length or height, so I know my audio is perfect every time. Unlike a normal boom arm where it's a struggle to get it in the perfect position every time. Which brings us to sound treatment. Sounds really impressive when I call it that, but it's really just items that will help with the bouncing and absorption of the sound. Like I mentioned earlier, there are many cheap and even free ways of helping with this, but for those that don't want to grab all the pillows in the house before starting a stream, there are some more permanent and aesthetic methods. My favorite is any form of acoustic canvas. I specifically like the one on my wall, which is why it's on my wall. I got it from a rando, and it's a beautiful shot of the New York City skyline, and it really helps the studio feel a bit more homely and makes it easier to sit in here for hours and hours editing and recording. On top of that, it makes a massive difference with the sound quality as it's an acoustic treated canvas. A bit of a warning though, when you install this, it can get quite heavy. If you're not that concerned about the aesthetic of your studio, or if you are very artistic in the layout, you can get foam acoustic panels in large packs from Amazon that would only cost you about $16 per pack and is very easy to put up. Some of them even have self-adhesive backs, but these normally cost a fraction more. As far as audio goes though, that's about it. Let me know if you found value in this video so far by smashing the like button. Now I know that monitors kind of fall under the peripheral section, which I'm not really covering in this video, but as this is for streaming, I figured I'd quickly touch on it. Let me start by saying this. You do not need 6 monitors to run a successful stream. Apart from your main monitor, all you really need is one other form of monitor that shows your chat, and this could be done on your phone, a laptop, or an iPad. That being said, it does make life a lot easier to have a secondary or even third screen, and I'm all about making life easier. That doesn't mean you need a monitor that has the same specs as your main monitor though. So you could get 1 or 2 second-hand monitors that's even half the size. As all you need on them is chat on the one, and on the other could be any background software like OBS or music or whatever you might use during a stream. Now I have 3, and to be honest, I only really use the third one on top for when I'm editing, as my main screen has a different color profile set up to help me in playing games and is not a good representation of what the viewer will see on my videos. That is all I'm going to say on monitors though in this video, so let's carry on with the rest. There are so many options to choose from when it comes to cameras. From cheap webcams to very pricey mirrorless cameras and even your phone. What you choose depends on 2 main aspects: budget and intended use. Let me explain what I mean by intended use. Let's say you plan on only ever being in a small part of the screen, like on the bottom with a green screen, or anywhere really with a framed shot. This would mean that you don't really need something that has a full frame mirrorless sensor and can shoot 8K at 120 frames per second. You only really need a good quality 720 or 1080 webcam, as the image will be compressed down to 320 or 480p anyway. To show you the difference, here we have a generic $20 webcam compared to the Brio 4K Streamcam and iPhone 13. Obviously there is a difference, but as I'm sure you can see, it's fairly negligible. If you plan on doing full screen views, however, this changes. Remember that your stream will also be compressed by the time it gets to the viewer anyway, so investing in a crazy expensive camera merely for a stream is not really worth it. I will say that I would advise something a bit better than just 720 or 1080p webcam merely for future proofing. I personally like the Logitech Brio 4K. That is a bit pricey, around $200 or $150 at the time of recording this video, excluding shipping, of course. You can get the Logitech Streamcam at about $100 or £80, or the Elgato FaceCam at $200 or £150. Both of these do up to 1080p at 60 frames per second, but if you're going to spend the extra money on the Elgato, I'd rather get the Logitech Brio for the same price as the Elgato. This is a great webcam with beautiful video quality even in lower light settings, and it will future-proof you as a bit, as it records 4K at 30 frames per second or 1080 at 60 frames per second. I also mentioned phones earlier. That wasn't a mistake or a joke, by the way. You can actually use your phone as your camera, and since most smartphones now do great 4K quality video, and we all have one already, it's probably the cheapest way to start. It's actually pretty easy to set up, but as this video is about gear specifically, I will not go into that now. If you want me to make a video covering all the methods, tips and tricks to do this, let me know in the comments. If you already have a camera set up but might be considering upgrading because you're not happy with the quality, just wait. I might have a cheaper solution for you to improve the quality of your video and the overall look of your stream. Lighting. Without spending any money on a new potentially better camera, let me show you how you can take your video from this to this for very little extra cost, if any. Lighting is the biggest bang for buck upgrade you can make to any content creation studio, as it helps the camera see what you actually want it to see, and it also helps make the environment more enjoyable and easier to work in. Now, how much and what kind of lighting you want completely depends on your stream camera setup. Again, green screen or framed. If you're using a green screen, there is, apart from your own enjoyment, absolutely no need to spend money on any background lighting and RGB, as this will only ever be seen by you. If you don't use a green screen, your audience will obviously see what you have in the shot. And to make this more appealing to them, you might want to consider some mood lighting. This can easily be done by RGB LED strips or RGB bulbs, or even just a smaller light illuminating something of meaning in the background. I'm not going to go too deep into this, as it's very much personal preference, and each streamer like yourself will have their own personal touch. Things like neon wall signs or light boxes, like I have. Instead, I will focus more on what gives you the better quality video. That being said, if you do want me to make a video on how to mood light your studio, feel free to let me know down in the comment section below, and I will get onto that as soon as possible. The same goes for whether you use a green screen or you don't, except the amount of lighting needed is more when you use a green screen. This is because when using a green screen, your recording software like OBS uses a filter called chroma key to remove that green from the video. And if you have different shadows and stuff on the back on the screen, it messes with the chroma key quality. To that end, your ideal setup is having a large enough light source to eliminate all the shadows on the green screen. My preference is using two smaller key lights, as they are more versatile than just one massive light, and they are also significantly cheaper. There are, again, as with everything, many to choose from. You can go for the top of the range Elgato Key Light or Key Light Air. Both of these come with a stand and start at about $160 or 120 pounds per light. Or you could go with a significantly cheaper Neewer 480 LED set with two lights, stands and boxes for around $245 or 180 pounds, which is about $50 or 30 pounds cheaper per light. I've used mine for nearly 2 years now with absolutely no problems, and I cannot be happier with the lights. You can get these same lights without the soft boxes, which saves a bit of money, but I would definitely advise investing that little bit extra. It makes a massive difference in the look of the video, but also your eyes and shine on your head if you are bald like me. It is still the same brightness, but the light is a bit softer and there isn't as much of a shine. Now, it would be a bit weird if throughout the video I kept talking about green screens but don't actually talk about them. So here we go. Like all things, the type of green screen you go with will be determined by the space you have available and how much time you're willing to spend each time before starting a stream. You could go for a fold-up green screen if space is limited, which saves you both money and space, but also requires setting up with every stream, which could be a hassle and cause inconsistencies in your recording software's chroma key. This one I got from Amazon for about $100 or 50 pounds at the time of this recording and excluding shipping. If you have a bit more funds to spare, I would advise getting a retractable one like the Elgato green screen that pulls up from the floor for $150 or 140 pounds. There are cheaper options of this, but I cannot give you any recommendations as I haven't actually tested these out. If you want to have your floor space clear, I would advise going for the Elgato green screen MT. This was not available when I bought mine, so I've got a Luxembourg wall-mounted green screen that is, funnily enough, actually not available anymore. The Elgato green screen MT is available for about 130 in the US and 140 in the UK. The desk and chair is very much down to each individual's own style and ergonomical preferences, so I'll just quickly mention what I have and advise on some options. My desk is the Delonda Carbon Electric Standing Desk, and to be honest, there are many better and cheaper sit-stand desk options, but I liked the way this looks. Knowing what I know now, I probably would have gone for something more neutral and triangularly shaped just to make it more versatile with colors and space in the studio. The chair is a Song Mix office chair, which is pretty comfortable but not the most ergonomic. My advice is to test out all kinds of chairs and try to find what feels good to you rather than what looks good. Bear in mind that you will be spending hours upon hours on this chair, so make sure you're happy and comfortable. As for the desk, there are some great sit-stand options, but they are all pretty pricey. You You can get some good ones from IKEA which work great and are quite interchangeable with some of the tops that they offer that allow you to customize the desk to the size and color you prefer. Now that we have covered all the basic needs, let's have a quick look at accessories. The most important or helpful one is probably the Elgato Streamdeck. This little device makes streaming life a lot easier. It gives you from 6 to 32 personalized and programmable buttons to help you switch between scenes, mute parts of the stream, open software, or even act as a soundboard, to name but a few. Unless you're running a massive production and have loads of sounds and devices you wish to control, I wouldn't really advise going any bigger than the 15 key option. I have that one, and to be honest, I don't even use half of it. You can make folders so you can use each key for multiple different functions, and that's mostly why. My wife has the Mini and only uses about 4 keys of it. The prices are as follows. For the Streamdeck Mini, it's $100 in the US and £100 in the UK. The Elgato 10 GAA9901, which is the 15 key one, and don't ask me why they named it something starting with a 10, is about $130 and pounds both in the US and UK. Next is a headphone stand. My favorite is the unbranded 2-in-1 headphone stand and hanger from Amazon, as it can be used on top of the desk and beneath, so you can really have it wherever you want. It clamps onto the desk, so there's no real chance of it falling over or off like many others. And that's pretty much all the gear you would need for your streaming setup. Remember, the two most important things you should upgrade first is the audio and the lighting. As long as you have that and some other working gear, you should be fine. Also remember that very often making a place look good or better is as simple as a new coat of paint on the wall and a couple of small things like memorabilia, art, and a plant or two. So that brings us to the end of this video. Please let me know if any of this helped you by smashing the like button, and if you have any questions, feel free to put them down in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe for future content, hit the bell to get notifications for when we upload new videos. And until then, good luck, good day, and remember, consistency is more important than anything.